I do not, under any means, want to watch The Hateful Eight.
Thank you very much for joining us for another episode of Film Club. I am one of your hosts, Andy Harrison. To my right, as always, Ty Donaldson.
Hello.
Every single week in Film Club, we invite you along to watch a film with us before coming back here and then talking it out. Andy, what have we been watching this week?
Magnificent Seven.
Magnificent Seven. So, just in case you are new to Film Club, spoilers ahead. We're going all in. Balls deep.
Balls deep indeed.
So go on. What is Magnificent Seven about? And don't say Magnificent Seven, people of cowboy nature.
Seven Samurai.
It is.
Nah, Magnificent Seven is a Western remake of The Seven Samurai. Hence that joke, if anyone got it. It's about a village of Mexicans who get raided by a bandit and his crew. They come to steal all the corn, riches, and they leave them a little money. And they think in the end that the elder of the village goes, oh shit, we can't keep doing this every time. We need to actually put a stop to it. What we're going to do? Oh, we'll just we'll buy some guns. So they're going to go out and buy some guns. They find out this guy, and this guy's like, well, actually, men are cheaper than guns. Buy men. So they come back with 6, what are they called?
Gunmen?
Guns for sales, yeah. Hired killers, stuff like
I
that.
think they call themselves gunmen a few times.
Gunmen, let's say gunmen. And they come back with 6, and then they somehow get a 7th. And yeah, it's about how they fend off these bandits.
Yep. And if you didn't join us last week for Seven Samurai, do go back and 1, watch Seven Samurai, and 2, watch the episode because it was brilliant. So how do you feel about watching this Western remake?
I enjoyed it. It was nice. And probably the first half of the film, maybe 2/3, you like it's amazing how, I'll tell you what it's like. It's like reading the Game of Thrones book and then watching the first episode and how true to the book it's been. This is so true to the Seven Samurai, to the point of where he rings the bell to come in the village, where there was a couple of parts later on. To the guy, the Cayuzo, what was his name? He goes in a duel and he's sat down. The way he's even sat down towards the end of Seven Samurai, I'm sure you'll bring up here, is where they run out of the village and Cayuzo comes back and sits down and goes to sleep. Just as the guy in here, who is by James Coburn as Britt, the knife guy, he goes to sit down a lot of his film. He's good at sleep. Sat down.
Yeah.
It mirrors Seven Samurai an awful lot, except towards a couple of distinguished differences. Is that the makeup of the crew is slightly different. Because you don't have one apprentice, you don't have one crazy guy.
They've kind of taken some of the traits and thrown them around with people's relationships.
And the ending's different as well.
Yeah, there's slightly different ending stuff, but we'll get that in a bit. For now, what do you think of the main cast? So it's 7
I think
non-samurais.
Well, I can't say I speak to them all, because there's a few of them I didn't know. The majority of the cast, I loved. And I should do it. There's a reason I love it, is because when you said what you're looking at there, and I was looking at Charles Bronson. The reason I love this cast, and the reason I love this director, is that
John Sturges, by the way.
Yeah. It directed / at least 3 of the cast all appeared in The Great Escape, which is one of my favourite films, which is, again, probably a top 10 film for me. It's amazing. Now, going back to Magnificent Seven, to see their chemistry together was fantastic. Big fan of Yul Brynner.
Yep, so film, boom, opens, our main character, we have the little prologue with the village, then we get our main character introduction, Yul Brynner.
I've never seen him before in a film, and he was fantastic, and I was thinking, who's this guy? He's a big name and all this.
He's got an odd sort of twang to him, hasn't he?
Very distinguished voice.
Very distinguished voice, and he's got a slight peculiar face.
Yeah,
but he's really good.
He's fantastic.
He's really good. And then pairing him off perfectly.
Steve McQueen.
With Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen, he'll always be he just is such a great, you see Steve McQueen, I was like, oh man, what a guy.
And he has this lovely character, which is a blend between being the gruff cowboy with also a little bit of cheeky humour. Yeah, like the little ladies and stuff like that. Yeah, and then he's good. It's fantastic. So if you go if you go on to how it mirrors the characters, let's say Yul Brynner, he is Chris, cowboy name. the most deadly cowboy name they could have given him is Chris. Yeah. And the best thing is he introduced himself after he's asked Steve McQueen what his name is, and he's like, was it Vin? You're like, okay, yeah, like Vince, cool, cowboy name. What's your name? Chris. It just falls so flat.
Chris is a cool name, mate. Remember that guy in San Francisco?
Chris in San Francisco.
Yeah. What a guy.
Chris in San Francisco. You made our trip.
Yeah. And he bought us some whiskey and made you throw up.
Yeah, it was probably the half a bottle of whiskey we had when we got back that made me throw up.
So, back to the point. It's great, and it's really, really nice seeing them pair together. Chris plays... Oh, what's he called? The main guy of Seven Samurai. I can't believe I just forgot it. Kanbei. So he plays Kanbei, like the lead of the group. Then you got Steve McQueen who plays Gorobai. They don't know each other, but Steve McQueen and Vin and Chris work together quite a way throughout the film. They're the ones that go at the start and get the guy to the funeral.
Isn't Gorobai in Seven Samurai his old mate?
No.
Did I do this last week?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Every time. There's those two I can't get out of my head and I can't switch them around.
Harry that's his mate. He comes in.
Yeah, I know Harry's his mate. Yeah.
I must admit, I had a bit of an issue with Harry's death. He was a great guy, and he's like the bit of the cheeky one in the group. He's laughing here and there.
I would agree. So actually, if we jump to the ending for a second, just to talk about Harry's death.
What the fuck?
Because he just rides back into town and gets shot straight away.
Yeah, man.
And you're like, oh, which is a shame actually, because I think the bit that comes after that is really good. Yeah. When he's saying
the gold and silver.
That's an amazing little like death sequence where he's saying like, was it for something? Was there something else there?
I wish.
Is it Steve McQueen? No, Yul Brynner. Yul Brynner is like, yeah, it was all for gold. There's loads of gold. He's asking to share. Like that's such a great scene. But yeah, really stupid death, just stupid, like silly death.
And to contrast. You have who so I'm a big fan of Steve McQueen, huge fan. My favourite character in this film was Charles Bronson's.
Name?
He was Bernardo, the scout
Bernardo,
leader.
Yes, actually introduced with. I love they kept the chopping wood scene.
Yes,
from Seven Samurai.
Seven Samurai. That was one of the other mirrors. Yeah, he was amazing, and what I really liked about him is he's helping like again with Harry. So Harry had some good scenes. He was like training the Mexicans how to shoot. So was Bronson as well. He was with the kids and that, like just having a bit of daft laugh with them. It was like, and there's that great scene with Bronson where he's like, "Our dad's a coward." So it was just like, "Your dad's not coward. You've done all this. And it's something I could do." There was a really underlying thing in this film where it's the cowboys. It's not the life that they wanted. Like they don't get the girls, they don't get the kids.
Yeah.
All they do is shoot a gun. And everyone reveres them. It's just like, hold on a second, what the fuck have we got to show for it? Your daddy might be a farmer, for fuck's sake. He's got kids, he's got this.
Which is actually a really nice little twist, little element that added from Seven Samurai.
But yeah, when he passes, he's on the roof just fucking sharpshooting. I'm like, go on, son, get in there.
Yeah.
That's how I would if I was to shoot someone. I'd be on the.
Well, no, he gets shot on the roof.
Then he comes down and starts doing more.
And saves the kids.
But then he dies.
And then
he doesn't kind of save them. They come to him. He gets them out of the way. And then they indirectly get him shot.
And they're like, "Oh, we didn't mean to do that. Oh shit, we're sorry.
Fucking hell! It annoyed me the first time they came. I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
Yeah, I know.
Same with the girl. And then okay. So let's move on to some of the characters that I don't know. You got the young lad Chico. Who's a mix of Kikacheo. Is that his name?
Oh yeah,
the ravaged one.
Kikachiko?
Kikachiko,
I can't remember. The guy who, you'll see him down here, he's the guy who is introduced as...
In the underpants.
The farmer who became a samurai.
Yeah. So, again, to mirror that, Chico is the previous farmer who became a gunslinger. He also plays kind of the apprentice in some level.
Which, just while we're on the subject of it,
yeah,
didn't like how they pulled off him being a farmer. It's so thrown in there for no reason.
Yeah, it almost feels like, Seven Samurai did this, we must do this.
There are a few of those bits that I want to get to in a little bit, but yeah, we'll carry on.
I think they did really well with Chico. I agree with that part.
Yeah, quite a fun character, especially when he's doing the scene with the bull.
That was brilliant. And how it led on to the woman as well. Yeah. I enjoyed that. I liked that. Yeah, it was good. Then, of course, you have... you don't see much of him. You have Robert Vaughn as Lee. And he's the guy who's like, he's lost his nerve. I absolutely love that redemption when he comes in and just shoots all three of them.
Yep.
Bit pissed off that he just stood out there in the middle of a gunfight, just at the door. It's like, come on, mate, you fucking sitting target there. That could have been done better. But there was a great redemption, but not redemption, but redemption.
Yeah.
So he felt like he's done fuck all. That he comes in and just frees them all.
He's got that great scene as well where the Mexicans from the village come in on a night and find him like screaming in the corners. He's got some sort of like PTSD thing going on.
It was good. And I'm missing the actual the knife guy, Anna.
Yes.
I had to rewind that scene, when he passed away and he threw the knife.
Britt.
Brit, because the knife like swears like that. I thought that the sandbag or whatever, the wall that went in was just made of jelly. So I had to watch and I was like, oh no, it wasn't. It's just me being silly. I liked him. I liked it. He was probably the most Seven Samurai one of them all, because he really, really was like. And again, that's
our 7, isn't it?
It is our 7, but that was James Coburn, who plays. I can't remember the part in The Manufacturer in. I was just reading their Manufacturer in The Great Escape, but I can't remember what he's like, the Manufacturer. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
But yeah, they're a great mix of like taking elements from the guys from Seven Samurai, taking some of their relationships, mixing them up a little bit, and then throwing in a couple new elements for flavour. It's great how they kind of kept them very much like cowboys. They definitely define them as cowboys, not as how the samurai would kind of held. They're not kind of the same sort of honourable. It's kind of honour bound, I guess, is the samurai thing. They don't have the same sort of honour bound code. What these guys have, like, not like you have a bit towards the end when Harry takes off.
When he comes back.
Never would have happened with a samurai.
Oh right, sorry, yes, yeah. But he comes back.
He comes back, and then in addition, these guys have that kind of more stone face thing that classic Western cowboys have. Whereas like the samurai had those little kind of jovial, happy moments where they're all like laughing together.
What do you think then about this being done in a Western film? Because I'm like you, I'm not being one for Western films before. We spoke a couple of weeks ago about how Unforgiven was amazing and it opened your eyes to the genre. I really like this as a Western film, but I thought yes, it's more modern. I thought there's films out there like, I haven't seen The Good, Bad and the Ugly, I've only seen a couple of parts. I prefer that a touch more. I don't know, it was a great film, but stuff like Unforgiven I preferred more.
Yeah. I mean, Unforgiven's a special case because it's a reflection on the entire genre. This is like one thing this is one of those films that made the genre. But I think while this film is thoroughly enjoyable, it's a great film, it lives in the shadow of Seven Samurai. And that's the problem, because it's this retelling of the story. It's a great film, but in almost every way, it's a lesser retelling. Not hugely lesser, just ever so slightly things are worse. Like, the conceit for going out and having to get these gunslingers is a little bit more ham-fisted here.
Yeah.
They had to cut kind of the characters, because we were talking about Seven Samurai, it was like 3.5 hours long. This is 2 hours.
Yeah.
So they lopped out basically huge chunks of character development, and they lopped out basically all the character development for the village as well. On a side note, I did really enjoy when they get in the cowboys, how they hid behind the door, just like the samurai in the film. Yeah. That was a lovely subtle nod as well. Subtle, not subtle. And then, you kind of lose a lot of the love for the village. You lose a lot of the tactical-minded elements.
I missed that. You just see him raise boundaries. That's a really good point. So you see him raise boundaries, put a net up and everything like that, which is great. Yeah. You see him teaching the Mexicans how to fight.
But then that's for like, it happens kind of this one time, and then they get outsmarted at the end.
I was surprised.
I didn't see that happen. Lovely twist on it.
Yeah. I love how it's the villagers that do it up now. In the end, I was like, "Fuck you, villagers."
But then again, they had this kind of awkward conceit to get that to work, because like the bad guy had to just let them go because.
Yeah.
Whereas it made a bit more sense in Seven Samurai that they were holding down this fort. Like if they lost that was it. It was over.
Yeah.
And you got that lovely stuff with like you're following Kanbei around the village and like you're finding out his plan, and like there's the scene which stood out to me in this, which is where there's a couple actually. There's the first one where they go to see the elder, and it's almost like because Seven Samurai had this thing where like the people outside the village had to abandon their houses. Yeah. They have this scene where they go and talk to him, but it has no reason to be there. It's never brought up in the rest of the film. It doesn't go anywhere. It's only there because of Seven Samurai.
In Seven Samurai, the first one, they go to flood the fields, which detaches them from the outside houses.
Exactly. There's these weird leftover elements. Like again, there's the bit where they're all happily eating, and then someone comes in and says, those guys have only been eating beans while we've been here, and it immediately cuts. There's no hesitation. It's a real pacing problem. It immediately like fades through to them handing out food to the villagers.
If I hadn't seen Seven Samurai before, I keep saying the, it's not the.
Yep.
I would have probably liked it a lot more and appreciate that more.
Yep, I 100% agree.
In the shadow, there are some unnecessary mirrors that should be there. There's some great ones. There's some absolutely spectacular ones, like you said, the woodcutting scene behind the door, stuff like that. It's like fuck yeah, great shout. then there's what you just said, and it's just like...
And there's some that transferred weirdly as well. Like, I remember when we talked last week, but I love the scene where they find the farmer's stash of samurai armor.
Yeah.
And they had that wonderful breakdown moment. It's a great character moment for what's his name? The guy who is a farmer who has become a samurai.
Yeah, Katsuchi, whatever.
And it's a wonderful moment for him. In this, they kind of turn it on its head a little bit because they get the guns from killing a few of those guys. And it's like you never have that kind of moment of like, you know, that's where the honor bound thing with samurai comes in.
Chico does say it, doesn't he? Chico says something like, "This is your farmers, all these guns, and that you make us do this." And it's just like, where's this come from?
Yeah, and it's because it was in Seven Samurai. Yeah. So there's some weird transferred elements, which I think you're right. If we hadn't seen Seven Samurai before, might just gloss over it and be like, "This is a great film," but it just lives in this humongous shadow of this like masterpiece of a film.
And we're not indicating that this is not a great film.
No, it is. It's a wonderful, wonderful film, but it's always got that but. It's always got that but there.
Which is a shame, because like you said, you know, three of the actors, the director, I should really, really enjoy this film. And it was just like, for me, it was like, yeah, it was a good film.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. One element I think they actually improve upon from Seven Samurai is making that villain a real character.
I agree. You actually get to know the villain more. That's a very good point. That is a good point, because the Bandit Lord in Seven Samurai, is he just appears at the start, then at the end.
Yep.
And he dies.
Yep. And you could argue that like that's more of an algorithm for like a force of nature, but I actually think this guy's really good.
He is. He's really, yeah. I enjoy that. The music isn't as, for me, it wasn't as recognisable as it was in Seven Samurai, or at least the use of sound as such. The music, yes, it had these lovely bubbly parts, and then it had the quite menacing, and don't get me wrong, it was good music. It was really good music, because when the western parts and I tell you what, actually, no, the sound effects of the gun shoot scenes were
love that. Good. Yeah, I was actually watching thinking, where like we don't get these sound effects anymore in Hollywood. They're so good.
It was fucking awesome. Very nostalgic for western films, but you didn't get the silence that Seven Samurai had, and that was for me. It was just like one of the best things I enjoyed about Seven Samurai.
You also don't get Kurosawa's amazing eye for cinematography.
That's just like you're dealing with literally a god in the film world, essentially.
True.
So I can accept that. I can accept there's some parts of the sound I don't like as much. But for me, what really sold this film, seriously, it's just the cast and how like their chemistry together. There's a reason that what's his name, the director. There's a reason that he uses them in the same films together. John Sturges. It pissed me off. I wish I liked it more.
Yeah, but the good news is you don't like it as much because you have this amazing film in Seven Samurai. I think that's what it's going to be. So there is Magnificent Seven. You can let us know in the comments below what you thought of Magnificent Seven, or you can hit us up on Twitter. We'll be back once again next week watching the film, and in the spirit of Halloween, we are going to be revisiting Halloween. So if you want to be part of the club, you can get watching. We'll see you guys next week.
For Halloween.
For Halloween.